At least 65 people have been injured in a drone strike on northern Israel. Hezbollah has described launching a swarm of attack drones on a military training camp in Binyamina, just south of Haifa. It appears that many of the injured people were in a communal canteen when it was struck. Hezbollah said its attack was in response for Israeli strikes inside Lebanon. Let's get the latest on this developing story tonight. Our correspondent Anna Foster is in Beirut. Tell us more about what we think has happened here, Anna.
Well, Jane, what we're seeing on social media tonight is pictures of what you say appears to be a dining hall at a military facility with a huge hole torn in the roof, with chairs overturned and spread around the floor. This appears to be a significant attack by Hezbollah on a military installation inside northern Israel. Now, volunteer paramedics, rescuers say that around 65 people have been taken to hospital, some of them critically injured, some of them more lightly so. Of course, the question is how Hezbollah managed to evade Israel's very sophisticated missile defense system with this drone attack. Hezbollah are firing several hundred missiles and rockets still every day into northern Israel. Most of them were picked up. This one wasn't. So questions will be asked about how it's managed to get through. And here in Lebanon today as well, fierce fighting has continued. The Lebanese Health Ministry say that 51 people have been killed today, nearly 200 injured, as those fierce Israeli airstrikes continue in the south of Lebanon, Jane.
Anna, thank you so much. Anna Foster there with the very latest in Beirut. Well, those attacks come at the end of a day of heightened tension in southern Lebanon, with the UN peacekeeping mission there insisting that its flags will continue to fly, despite Benjamin Netanyahu telling it to get its troops out of the area while Israeli forces fight Hezbollah. The UN accused Israel of forcibly entering one of its bases in the south, breaking down the main gate. Israel says it was trying to rescue wounded soldiers. About 10,000 UN peacekeepers from 50 countries are stationed in Lebanon. Since 1978, they've patrolled the area between the Litani River and the UN-recognized boundary, known as the Blue Line. In recent days, a number of these Unifil peacekeeping troops have been injured in military action. Israel has admitted responsibility for firing towards UN posts in some cases. And Israeli tanks today entered the UN base in Ramia, as our correspondent Hugo Bachega reports now from Beirut.
They are deployed to keep the peace in southern Lebanon, but there's no peace left to keep. Now they're caught up in this war. Today, UN peacekeepers came under Israeli attack again. Earlier this year, we joined them on a patrol along the border, when they were still able to leave their bases. Israel's war against Hezbollah is expanding, and even peacekeepers are not safe.
Today we had Israeli forces entering inside one of our positions in the middle of the night. They stayed there for 45 minutes, damaging the entrance and leaving shortly after.
It's the fourth time in as many days that you come under attack, come under Israeli attack. Do you think this is deliberate?
Well, we are seeing that the first one was injuring two peacekeepers inside our headquarters, inside one of the towers inside. So how that's a deliberate attack. These are all incidents that they're making us think, why are they doing it?
The Israeli military said a tank that was trying to evacuate injured soldiers while still under fire backed several meters into a Unifil post. It said following the evacuation of the soldiers, the tank left the post. Today, the Israeli Prime Minister had this message.
Mr. Secretary General, get the Unifil forces out of harm's way. It should be done right now, immediately.
The Israeli Prime Minister is saying that you should leave those bases along the border.
We decided just the other day that we are staying. There was an unanimous decision. We are here at the request of the Security Council. We cannot let one member state decide the fate of an international organization, of a peacekeeping mission that is there because of the will of the international community.
Israel says it's targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon, but the entire country is under attack, even the UN. Hugo Bachega, BBC News, Beirut.
Well, Israel's offensive continues in Gaza. Its forces have struck what they say are Hamas targets in the north. Sources inside Gaza say 5 children were killed in the Al-Shati region. They say the children were playing near a cafe when they were killed in a drone strike. Israel hasn't commented. Let's get the thoughts tonight of our chief international correspondent, Lyse Doucet, who is in Jerusalem. Lyse, first of all, the situation there in northern Gaza, the strikes appear to continue there.
Yes, those tragic images emerging from Gaza tonight, the shrouds of young Gazans, boys, teenage boys who were just playing football. And there's a cruel twist. One family who lost 2 sons said they had just fled their home in another area of northern Gaza, in Jabalia, because the Israeli army said they had to move somewhere safer. And it has this cruel twist has just underlined again what Gazans have been saying for many months, what aid agencies have been saying, that nowhere in Gaza is safe. And that's what many of the some 400,000 Palestinians still living in Jabalia camp, coming under unprecedented pressure to leave, are saying that they're not going to move this time. But they are coming under pressure. The UN says that they haven't been able to get any medical missions into northern Gaza, that no food has entered this month. And there is an impression that Israel is now stopping food, medicine and water, what people need to survive, in order to force them to move. It's what's known in war as surrender or starve. Israel continues to say it's only targeting Hamas because it embeds in civilian infrastructure. But if it is denying food and water, that's a violation of the rules of war.
And all of this that we're talking about, Lyse, against the backdrop of the world waiting to see whether Israel does follow through on its promise of retaliation against Iran.
It's certain to retaliate. That is a certainty. The big question is how, when, where. And it comes as the United States has just said that they are deploying another advanced air defense system to Israel with 100 American soldiers. That will be the first time that this system is deployed on the ground. And those proverbial boots on the ground seem to also send a signal to Iran that you better think twice if you then retaliate after Israel's response. Now, the first time there was a tit for tat in April, Israel took 6 days before it replied. This time it's been 2 weeks, and that's because Israel's strikes are certain to be far more significant and far more consequential.